Make sure I'm recording. Still feels great, but. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mia Hall reporting for BlackEnterprise.com. I'm here with the Micheaux Film Festival founders, Courtney and Noel. Today, we're going to speak to them just about how they've been able to, continue to thrive through this pandemic and more. So stay tuned. Okay, so Courtney and Noel, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Mia. Thank you.
Yes. So let's start from the beginning, shall we? So how did the Micheaux, and I hope I'm saying it correctly, film festival get started?
So you are saying it correctly. It's Micheaux. We actually have a joke that we're going to kind of get a couple of variations because everyone somehow manages to jack it up. But yes, it is a Micheaux Film Festival. So we started in 2018, actually. December 2018 was our first festival. And really, it came about, Noel and I were really having a conversation and just talking about how, we're in LA, we're in Hollywood, it's the entertainment hub. And there really wasn't enough space for independent creators to really have a platform to showcase their work, and especially creators of color, creators who are outside of the norm. So we wanted to create a space for all backgrounds, creators of all different races, ethnicities, sexual orientations, creeds, religions, etc., to have a space where they feel like they belong and they can showcase their work. I'll let Noel talk a little bit more about just the ideas behind it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Micheaux, as we all know, Oscar Micheaux originally, when he decided to even get into film, his biggest goal was to bring together polarizing worlds that otherwise wouldn't intersect, right? So he was known as the Black Godfather of cinema, operating outside of the traditional Hollywood banner and commercial financing system, and using his platform and his films to bring together white and Black, rich and poor, rural and urban. So in that same spirit and philosophy, we wanted to create a festival and a platform for those who otherwise would not intersect to be able to celebrate each other's works, celebrate the art as a whole, and most importantly, get engaged with the community to give back. It's something as well that we really pride ourselves on.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for, filling that gap too. So in the past, I think which annual festival will the 2021 event be?
That's going to be year 3.
3, okay, I thought it was. So in the past, 2.5 years, I would say, what's some of the greatest moments that you've had as founders that you've been, proud of from the festival?
Oh man, I mean, I would say this past year's festival was just an overwhelming amount of pride for me personally. So our first year, we really kind of wanted to use it as a proof of concept, right? Like, we're like, okay, we have this idea to do this film festival. Let's see if we can pull it off. Let's see if people really want this. And we had about a little over like 200 people come out for it. We were happy with that. This year we went bigger, better. We went so much harder. We had over 700 people come out. We expanded to a 3-day weekend. And it was just, how you look back and you say, wow, I really did that. And not just like for us as individuals, but we did that for the community. And we did that for the creators and our network and our circles and even outside of our circles. So for me, this whole just experience has been a moment of pride, an ongoing moment of pride.
Yeah, and adding to that too, I remember our first year, we had a guest come out and she had just moved to Los Angeles and she came to the mixer after the screening. And I think I bumped into her like 4 months down the road and she said, thank you so much for creating that space, because many of the creators and filmmakers who I was able to connect with at the festival have now become my friends, right? They've now become assets in my journey as I continue to add more to my creative repertoire and I grow as an artist. I have a platform and a space and a network of people that I can trust and rely upon when I'm in need. And I would also say, even in regards to last year, one of our filmmakers was recently signed to CAA. And, we pride ourselves on making sure that we stay in touch with them and that we're creating databases so that when we have agencies and management companies and or production companies looking for up and coming talent, can you guys provide us with an aggregated source of information that we can look at, breaking down profiles, breaking down the work, looking at their biography and credits, and then we can maybe utilize them to do a project that we're looking to do. And in the case with CAA, his name is Carlton Jordan. He was able to sign with them and he's just taken off. I mean, they got a lot of great things in development. He's taking meetings left and right. And we take a lot of pride in the fact that we can credit the fact that the festival was involved in bridging the gap between, again, the huge commercial entity like CAA and an incredibly talented avant-garde director like Carlton.
That's awesome. And congratulations, of course, on these, years of success. So, this year, as far as like the 2020 festival, I know it was way bigger and way better than, the first year. And now you're coming up on 2021. So can you tell me, how this year has been for you all? I've seen that you've had, great partnerships coming about. But how has this year been different and how will the festival be different in 2021?
Well, I mean, the most obvious thing, COVID-19 happened. So we actually were very fortunate that our festival was in February. So, I mean, we literally were able to have it 2 to 3 weeks before lockdown happened, before we even knew like the gravity of the situation. So one, we kind of have been able to be like that last big experience for a lot of our filmmakers before life shut down. So that's obviously, presented a big pivot for us, but there's also been a lot of opportunity in that as well. So like you mentioned, some of our bigger partnerships that we've done have actually been in the digital space, where we've kind of pivoted from, doing in-person events to doing digital panels. And with that, we were able to partner with OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network, and their voting initiative, Own Your Vote. We were able to partner with Hidden Empire Film Group and their voting initiative, Be Woke Vote. And we actually have a panel coming up tomorrow, or whenever this airs, it'll be Thursday, the 10th. But we have a panel with the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, aka the Daytime Emmys. So, even though there has been a lot of adjustment and pivoting, there is a lot of opportunity, and it's even increased our reach now. Instead of, being in LA where people can attend in person, we're now worldwide, nationwide, digitally, where anyone can access the information that we have and are able to share. And I'll let Noel talk a little bit about the 2021 pivot that we're working on now.
Most definitely. And, it's exciting too, because to partner with companies like CAA and to have people and executives come on board and be a part of that digital experience has really been able to increase our infrastructure and volume and reach, as Courtney said. Many of our audience, people want to stay connected to us. And that was one of the things we talked about in the summertime. Well, what form of program do we want to really roll out? What form of information do we want to make sure that we're onboarding to them? And strategically, how do we want to go about really rolling everything out? And the blessing, I think, in everything is that not only are we seeing an increase of more people knowing about the festival and understanding what we stand for and our principles, but even as we move into 2021, we know that we want to continue to maintain the infrastructure of still having half of the events virtual, where the other half is going to be physical. So we're going to do anything from drive-in experiences where we're going to, rent out parks and host huge screenings and have people come through, to also potentially doing comedy stand-up shows in the parks or outside somewhere, food vendors, beer trucks, wine tastings as well. We're also looking at maybe integrating that and working with certain sponsors that want to specifically get involved. One of the sponsors that we have from last year, Epic Wine and Spirits, they're super interested in being involved. So we've been talking about doing a maybe wine garden with them. So in addition to screenings that are going to be happening, both virtual And we're hoping, especially with the festival being in April, we'll also be able to get back to the theater, make sure that it's safe and only have a limited number, but giving people the option and access to experience a festival in either realm that they would like to, whether it's virtual, whether it's physical. We want to provide people with a variety of options, not just from an entertainment standpoint, but also from a culture standpoint, from a food standpoint, from a beverage standpoint, being a place and hub where the intersects of all things that we think about when we try to progress and move the culture forward in our experience called life come together and intersect as one.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. And, congratulations again that, you've been able to innovate, right? I think that's what a lot of companies have had to do. And, for you all to have done that successfully only, under 3 years in business is awesome and admirable.
Thank you.
So, speaking of companies, right? We are a Black enterprise. So, do you all see this as, an endeavor that is also bringing you a stream of income, or is it more of like a nonprofit, like only to be, served as a nonprofit and like serving the community?
Well, we do see it as both, to be honest. One of the business models that we've been able to integrate with in the festival world, you're either more of an audience-centric festival or you're more of a business-centric festival. The business model typically with those form of festivals like Sundance, Tribeca, Cannes, high sponsorship dollars, high commercial value, a lot of foot traffic, big budgeted films. Even if they're independent, you're still looking at $5 to $10 million films, where a more audience-centric model is focused on maybe lower revenue films, lower sponsorship dollars. The foot traffic is not nearly as high, but there's a level of intimacy and connection you're making with the filmmakers, in addition to the form of content that they're creating may not have as big of a commercial value, but there's certainly quality and they have a strong story and narrative behind it. So for us, we really pride ourselves in putting the filmmaker first, showcasing not only their story that they created, but showcasing who they are, what they've been through. Because for us, we feel as though that's as equally important as the content, right? About what was your struggle, the tribulation, how did you overcome it, so that people can take that knowledge and information and apply it to their own journey. And I would just go on to say too, from a financial standpoint, we have not made profit quite yet, but we are seeing an uptick when it comes to our sponsorship dollars, when it comes to our ticket revenue, when it comes to our even attendance. We've had almost a 200% increase from our first year to second year when it comes to the foot traffic, going from 200 people to over 700 people across a span of 3 days. And I'll let Courtney go into more detail.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the exact same thing that Noel pretty much said for us. We really see it as both. Like, we would love to make a profit, but we didn't start this to make a profit. We started it to create a space and build a community for the creators who needed it. And that's really our main focus. So, like Noel said, we would love to make a profit in this third year. Hopefully by 5, we're definitely rocking and rolling, but yeah. It's not even about that at the end of the day. It really is about serving the community, giving back, and even bridging the gap between the local community and the arts with some of our social impact initiatives as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Can you just talk a little bit about the social impact initiatives? Because I know you said like it's, just as much, for highlighting the films, but also like giving back.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So every year of the festival, we actually partner with a local homeless advocacy group. We're in downtown Los Angeles. If you've ever been to downtown Los Angeles, you know that the homeless problem it's an epidemic. It really is terrible. And it affects Black people most. It affects people of color significantly. So for us, we can't sit there and have an event and make something so lavish and grand for the people who attend and not turn around and give back to the community that affords us that space, right? So we've partnered with, we've actually created an initiative called Within Our Gates, which is actually the title of one of Oscar Micheaux's films, and it's just very fitting to us. And it's an initiative that just helps us to go back and serve the community. So we've partnered with Good Seed CDC our first year, and we actually donated all of the proceeds from the festival directly to them. The second year, we partnered with Covenant House of Hollywood, which is a youth resource center. Most people in LA are familiar with it. We actually had some of their kids, they came out and volunteered at the festival, the ones who were interested in entertainment. So they were able to meet some of our filmmakers. They were able to just be in the know, be in the air, like, and understand, like, wow, this is what it's like. So it was really just a fulfilling moment for us to be able to use our platform and our space to give back to kids who otherwise maybe would have never had that experience, you know?
Right.
And I'll let Noel talk about our voting initiative, because that's his baby, Goats Vote.
Oh yeah. So Goats Vote, which we were featured in Forbes recently for that. And it stands for greatest of all time vote. And I know phonically it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of a weird flow to it. But you know, you look at the GOATs like Michael Jordan, you look at people like Neil Armstrong, Barack Obama, those that have been able to transcend their industry and what they've been able to do as paragons. We wanted to create an opportunity and platform to have people get involved with raising awareness both in state, local, and federal elections about the importance of voting, driving out the vote, voter education, you know, why voter suppression is real and how it's impacting your local community and the effects of the long lasting effects of that. So, you know, even being able to partner with Own Your Vote and Deion Taylor and Roxanne Taylor's Be Woke Vote was amazing, because while we know we're small and we're still growing, we can still provide ancillary support to organizations like that to propel them and make their reach wider, you know, deploy our resources in aiding them and partner with them in tandem to ensure that we really drive out the vote and make sure people understand the importance of voting. And I would say this, I know the runoff is coming in December, or excuse me, in January in Georgia. So for those out there, if you have not registered, please register, because I think the deadline was like any day now. And make sure it was 2 days. Dang, right. It was
I get all
2
the
days.
texts because I have a Georgia number.
Right. But, you know, please go out there, make sure your voice is heard. Please ensure, you know, that you're also encouraging your friends and family to go out and vote, because, and I got the Be Woke Vote on right now, just repping for them. But, you know, if you do not use your voice or your vote, you will not use your voice. So please get out there, guys, and spread the word about making sure we get out here and vote.
Absolutely. Thank you. No, yeah, such important messages and important work. And I, you know, definitely believe that, you know, what you give out will come back to you, right? So definitely happy you're doing that, and believe that that has led to, you know, a lot of your success and will continue to lead to your success. Now, I know both of you, you know, this idea, you both were in Hollywood. It came out of, you know, the idea that, you know, there was a gap that you all wanted to fill. But I want the listeners to know, because both of you have, you know, personally done great things in the industry that, you know, led you to that point. I want you to talk about, you know, what was your kind of individual journey to, you know, before creating the festival, and then, you know, how has, you know, it helped you just to, you know, continue in that path. Per se. I mean, I feel like, you know, you guys have, you know, such great backgrounds, have done amazing things personally before the Micheaux Film Festival. And I just want you to like tell the listeners a little bit about what you've done, and, you know, and how, yeah, I think just, you know, like how it adds to your journey as well.
Absolutely. You know, for myself, I mean, Courtney and I, we both went to Georgia State University, and I majored in film and video and speech communication. I was working at Comcast Spotlight, which is the advertising division of Comcast by way of the Emma Bowen Foundation. After I graduated in 2011, I ended up moving to New York, and I was working with NBC Universal. Was with NBC for a few months, left because I felt like corporate just wasn't my calling, just wasn't my ministry, right? I wanted to pursue a career in creative and arts and performances, and really just get back to the root and base based on the vision that I felt God gave me, and moved to Los Angeles, started a small entertainment and production company, primarily focusing on short form content. And now we're expanding to long form, but ended up doing a web series. And the only festival we got into was the LA Web Fest. And that was founded by Michael Jawe. God rest his soul. He has since passed away from cancer. But Mike was one of the first mentors in my life to come up to me and say, I believe in what you're doing. Just make sure you believe in yourself. And I think that's an important message to any entrepreneur out there that may go through those times of trial and tribulation. Do you believe in yourself and holding on and protecting the vision and dream that God has given you? And after getting into that web fest, we ended up subsequently getting into a festival in Rome because of the coalition of pretty much relationships that Mike was able to form with both the Rome Web Fest in addition to the Seoul Web Fest in South Korea. From that point, Disney and Lucasfilms opened up an incredible opportunity for independent filmmakers to create their own Star Wars universe as they imagined it. We ended up creating a project. I directed it, I wrote, produced it, and ended up getting into the awards. We ended up winning 2, went to London. And if you go to starwars.com, you could take a look at it. And again, that's a project I wrote, I directed, and I produced, understanding that how is this a science fiction world where you have aliens, mystical powers, all form of creatures, spaceships, and galaxies, but there's no form of diversity or people of color. Didn't make any sense to me. And that was a big motivating factor. And I'm so proud about what we were able to accomplish from that. When I moved into my second project, I actually had a production assistant that was working on my set who, by the time we got done with the shoot, and it was probably 4 days, we were working anywhere from 14 to 15 hours a day. This man was coming in early, leaving late, never once complained, just gave 110% every day on set. And he was our only PA, so I was running him left and right. And he ended up coming out to me and telling me that he actually was homeless. And he was actually living in a tenant encampment that was 2 blocks away from the apartment complex that I had just moved out of. And I moved out of that complex to move into a hostel so that I could take the money that I typically would apply to rent and I put it into this particular shoot. So his story touched me so much to the core. It inspired me for my latest project that was nominated for 2 daytime Emmys. And it pretty much follows a Hollywood Boulevard cosplayer who's trying to normalize her chaotic life despite the fact that she herself is homeless. And so, you know, from my experience with Mike, and then also seeing the situation that I had with my PA and looking at everything holistically, we knew that it was incredibly important to provide our filmmakers, creators a space. And that's a big part of why we even decided to found the festival as well. When we think about his history, when we think about his story and the impact that it had on both Courtney and myself. So I didn't mean to be long-winded there. I just wanted to make sure I got everything in to see the big picture, you know, so yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Get the full story.
Full story.
So for me, my journey was a little bit more streamlined. I kind of knew what I wanted to do from really my senior year of high school. I took a broadcasting class. I actually switched schools specifically to take a broadcasting class my senior year, and I fell in love with all of it, just production, and I knew this is what I wanted to do. So like Noel mentioned, we both attended Georgia State. I majored in broadcast journalism, telecommunications, with a double minor in Spanish and sociology. From there, I was able to intern at places like the CW, CNN. I got a fellowship with CBS This Morning, their news division in New York. Realized very quickly that news wasn't really for me. It was a little too monotone for my speed. Ended up on a daytime talk set, and it was a completely different world, but it was the fast-pacedness that I really enjoyed. So really started working my way up through the unscripted side of television and mostly daytime talk, court TV, etc. Made my way out to LA for the Dr. Phil show, where I started as an associate producer and ended as a co-producer / producer. And from there, I kind of decided to take a break from the fast-pacedness of daytime TV that I enjoyed so much. Just kind of wanted to chill out a little bit and started doing a little bit of casting on the reality side. And that was when Noel and I really kind of met at that point. And I was looking for something else to just kind of fill my time, something a little bit more fulfilling that I really wanted to enjoy. And that's where we really kind of came together about over the festival. And it kind of gave me something else to put my talents into besides just television and besides just casting and producing, which I definitely love, but it doesn't open up as many opportunities as the festival does. And then from there, moved back to Talk TV, where I was producing on Fox Soul. Ended up being a senior producer there before I took a little bit of leave. And now I'm working on the festival full time and working on a couple of other projects that we have. So really starting to embrace this entrepreneur life, which I never saw for myself until I met that man right there, who has kind of opened my eyes to some things that I really enjoy.
No, that's awesome. And you're flourishing in it. So, you know what I mean? Like, why not? Black Enterprise, we're going to promote that. So, for sure. Okay, awesome. And then, I think that, I just want to know, your goals for the festival, and of course, anything, else that you want to add and you want the people to know about the festival and where it's going.
Oh, absolutely.
Like maybe,
well, I could definitely.
how do you see it in, in 5 years or so?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of our goals, especially when you're looking at festivals, hybridization has been something that has been growing rapidly, where festivals are not just known for one particular thing, but they also have a symbiotic relationship with another aspect or industry that's going to drive even more attendance and traffic to that particular event. So we certainly see ourselves, again, being the intersect of culture, food, music, beverage. For us, we really pride ourselves and we're really excited because we're looking to strategically partner with other festivals, other organizations, other events that are up and coming and or established, so that we can not only, if someone wants to come to Micheaux, they're not just even going to buy a ticket for a screening or a networking mixer, but you have an option to go out there and enjoy a street fair. You have the option to buy different events and opportunities that some of our vendors are also providing. And we're really excited about the chances and opportunity in growing and informing to be something similar to South by Southwest, where depending on what you want, we got it. It's a one-stop shop and hub with culture, diversity, progress, and just moving the culture forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that in the next 5 to 10 years, we really envision ourselves as being the premier Los Angeles film festival. Like Noel said, just a full slate of everything. Whatever you want, Micheaux is going to provide it for you. So we've already kind of started joking with ourselves, calling it the Micheaux experience. And it's less of a joke and more of a manifestation, because we know that everything that we put our hands to is going to be an experience. And if you've ever been to the Micheaux Film Festival, like from the color schemes to how the content blocks are themed out with like witty phrases instead of just screening Black 1, screening Black 2. Like, we make everything a unique experience. So we plan to definitely carry that on throughout the years. And really, in doing research, we found that a lot of festivals don't make it to year 2, let alone year 6. So we really have our eyes set on such higher heights. Like, speaking about year 10 isn't even a problem for us, because we already know how far we want to go, how far we want to take it. Like, you guys are lucky because you're getting to us now, because in 10 years it's going to be like, oh, the Micheaux Film Festival, yes, I know that one.
Definitely.
Yes, I love it. So no, I'm always, happy to speak with you all and to support. So I'm glad I'm here, because in 2031, you know what I'm saying, I might
We rocking.
Her press badge, give it to her.
Yes, exactly. No, we're gonna give her a filmmaker badge.
All right,
great content.
Right.
We'd love for you to submit your podcast too. We're taking podcasts this year, so any form of live talk or podcast you have, Mia, please send it our way. Please.
Oh, I okay. No, yeah, thank you. No, I definitely. That's why. I wore my little shirt today. I'll show my little parables from the project.
Let's go. I see.
Y'all look out for that submission. No,
absolutely.
but yeah. So I'll bring this all back together. So thank you all for joining me. Can you just let people know where they can find out more information about you and Micheaux Film Festival?
Absolutely. So guys, we just got on Clubhouse, so be sure to invite yourself to our page and follow us on Clubhouse, Micheaux Film Fest. You can also follow us and hit us on Twitter and Instagram. Our Instagram is Micheaux Film Fest. Our Twitter is Micheaux Fest. Our Facebook, like our page as well, Micheaux Film Festival. Connect with me at Noel Braham, and I'll let Courtney do her plug as well.
You can also connect to our YouTube, which is the Micheaux Film Festival. All of our past digital panels are up there. It's some great info. I promise you don't want to miss it. Get it while it's still free. My personal page is Court Produced It. So, you know, I'm a producer at Court Produced It. And then our Film Freeway, all of the information about our submissions, about the festival that goes in depth is filmfreeway.com/the Micheaux Film Festival. I think that's everywhere you can find us. You should be able to find something from all of those things.
Right.
Awesome. All right. Yes. Well, y'all heard it here. So definitely look them up and watch out because you see who's next. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Mia.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is great.